How's everybody doing? I was fortunate enough this morning to be blessed with being able to shoot a nice buck. So I thought I'd take the time to do a little segment on caping one out for a mount. This is mainly for guys that are like going out of state to where, you don't have the option of leaving it whole until you get back home, especially in the warm weather. If you need to get it caped out and taken care of so you can get it back home to your taxidermist, I'm going to kind of quick go through and show you the best way to do that so you end up with a quality mount. So, starting out, I tied a ribbon kind of around it, and that's, as you can see, just a couple inches back past the front leg. You'll start by cutting that all the way around. Got that cut all the way around. That'll make a nice shoulder mount. Next thing you want to do is come on the back side of the front leg where the white meets the brown. Follow that up to where you hit the armpit and then straight back to the incision you made. Once you got that done, then you just start skinning it down. And ideally, if you can, the less meat you leave on that cape, the less you'll have to try and scrape off later. Try not to nick that hide. So, less holes to sew up, the better. Your goal is mainly to get the hide off so the deer can cool down and your cape can cool down. And when you come down on the leg, from the joint right below the shoulder, come down 4 or 5 inches, and then you can cut that around the leg there. Up in these armpits, right up in here, that skin gets real thin, so be real careful right there. It's real easy to nick it and go through there. Okay, then once we get to this part where we're around the legs all the way, are done, and it's all the way around, now let's just pull it down until, skin it down the neck. And I like to cut my neck off at about 4 inches down from the ears. So just skin it down to that point. And the reason I like to cut off about 4 inches of neck with the head is so you can get a better measurement of what size your deer is to give to your taxidermist so he knows what size cape to order. Alright, I've got it down to where I'm about 4 inches down from the back of the ear, so I'm going to go ahead and now I'll cut the head off. into showing you how to fully cape this out to give you more room on the way home and still end up with a beautiful mount. Alright, now we'll get into the next part of caping out your trophy, and that is actually skinning the hide off the head. If you're ever going out on an out-of-state trip or something, I would always suggest, especially if you have a possibility of wanting a mount done, I'd suggest either carrying a small tape measure. This one's a 12-foot, half-inch wide, but either some type of small tape measure, or what I usually like to carry, comes in real handy, easy to pack, is one of these, I guess the seamstress, sewers use these little flexible tapes. These work great. One of the very first measurements you want to take is you want to measure from the corner of the eye duct to the tip of the nose. And that'll be your first measurement you need to know. And so like this one here is right at 7 inches. From the corner of that tear duct, right in the corner of the eye, to the tip of the nose. Yep, 7 inches. So then just write that down somewhere on a scratch piece of paper or something that you can put in your wallet and save for later. But that'll be the first of 3 measurements you need. So then we'll get into the actual caping of it. The old style method was they would do kind of like a Y and then cut it all the way down the back of the neck. The way I like to cape them out is I'll go from one side of the antler base straight across to the other side, then I'll come down at a slight angle and down just to where we cut that neck off to right there. So it'll be a real short incision and it'll look like kind of like a number 7. So that's the way I like to cape them out, and you can always ask whoever you plan on having mounting your deer how they prefer it, if you're going to do it before you get it to them. But a lot of guys are going to this short incision, saves a lot of time when it's time to sew it all back up. So we'll get into showing you how we cut and cape this out. Start down here where you cut it off. And just cut that up to where you get between the ears. Alright, top of my incision is right there between the 2 ears. And then I'll go from here and I'll angle it right to the base of the right antler. And from here, we'll just skin that open. And if you got a real sharp knife, small blade, go from the inside and up to underneath that burr. And once you got it part way around the burr, then I just pull that back down to where I can cut straight across to the other side. And you want to cut from underneath the hide up through so you're not cutting in the hairs. You don't want to go this way, then, because if you do, you're going to cut the hair and you'll have a definite line across the top. So make sure you cut from underside up. Okay. Then you can take and cut that ear free right close to the base of the skull. Same thing on this side. Cut that ear right at the base of the skull. If you got a flat screwdriver, you can pry that in right next to that burr and bone and just kind of help pull that hide away from the bone. Then stand the deer up on its kind of nose, okay, and the rack kind of helps balance it. And then just kind of skin that back at the back of the neck where you cut it off. And as you do that, you're going to be able to pull your neck through. There we go. A little awkward when you're trying to keep it in a position where you can film it so you guys can see and still be in the right position to get it skinned down. There we've got the neck exposed. And as I was saying, you're going to take 3 measurements. Measurement 2 would be right at the throat. This one's 19. And then if you come back 3 inches, which is right about where I've got it cut off, measure it again. This one's about 21. So I go from an 18-inch neck, or I think that was 19, not 18. Yeah, 19-inch neck back to a 21-inch neck. So I'd write those 2 measurements down also. And those are the size that you will give to your taxidermist so he can order the correct size form. The next tricky part is doing around the eyes. You want to make sure you get that inner eyelid attached to your hide and leave that on there because he's going to need that to tuck in around the glass eye to give you a natural look. And then the other thing that's going to be important is the tear duct. And I'll show you when I get to that. Put your hands right at the back of the eye. Fold the hide over. That will give you a reference point, and then you'll be able to feel where you're cutting as you go to skin that off. And there is the back of the eye socket. Stay close and tight to that bone of the eye socket. Okay, and then I don't know if you can see that or not. But that is the inside. My finger is actually just a little bit inside the eye, kind of by the eyeball. But that's the inner eyelid. So you want to make sure you stay back and have that all attached. You can see now my finger right there. So it was just by the eye. And then what I do is when you get to this part, kind of hold that eyelid and pull it away from that eye socket while you cut. That way you make sure you get all the eyelid you need. Okay, there's the full eyelid. So he'll have plenty to work with to tuck in. Okay, then when you get down here, there's going to be kind of a white line, kind of like gristle, that will go from the corner of the eye. That's leading into the tear duct. And let me get a better angle so you can see this. Okay, there's that white line I was talking about. And you just want to stay in real tight to the bone. And there'll be like a little pocket down in there. You just stay in right next to that and just slowly keep following it. There was your tear duct. And the tear duct on the hide is right here, which is that white line. So that one is fully intact. And then you'll just do the same for the other eye. Back down towards the nose. And you're going to have a patch right here. You're going to see the bottom jawbone. Then you're going to see like a strip of meat. And then another like upper cheekbone. That's the inside lips of the mouth. You want to come back here an inch or so and cut it back here. And then follow the jawbone on both sides. You want that inner cheek or inner lip, plenty of that attached, so they can use that because that's what they're going to use to tuck in on the form. To hold it right back there, and you'll be able to feel where the mouth is. And it's always better to take off too much than not enough. So I try and take that inner lip all the way and cut it away from the jaw, right where the teeth, right where it meets the teeth. Is just peel and skin that down. And this is the lower jaw. Okay, bottom lip is free. I will just finish the top around the nose. Same thing on the side, upper lip, follow that inner lip right up by the teeth line. And then once you get about here, you can feel there's no more bone. That's just cartilage. So you just cut right through there, down to the bone. Follow that down. And there you go. Alright, once you get that off from the skull, that is all you have to do. If you happen to have salt with, try and take as much meat off as possible. Spread some salt on the inside all around. Let it sit that way for about an hour or so, and then fold it inside out lay it out somewhere and let it cool and dry, and let that salt dry. It just kind of helps break down the bacteria and keep it from, growing and ruining the hide. If you don't have any salt, you can just take it, lightly roll it up, and then put that in a bag and put it in either a cooler on ice, get it nice and cold and cool down, or throw it in a freezer if you got room in a freezer somewhere to freeze it. But if not, at least lightly wrap it and loosely throw it in a bag and throw it on ice to cool it down and keep it cold until you get home. And that's all you need to do. So good luck out there with your hunting trips. If you get a good cape or a good mount, don't be afraid to cape it out, and take care of it until you get home to your local taxidermist. So you all have a good time out there, be safe, and good luck. We'll see you out there.